That mother back there is not real.
There was a group of reptilians there, and they stood around me in a circle.
Tradition tells us that the army of the Messiah is not to come from heaven, but is to arise in
All right, truth seekers. Hope you had a great weekend. And it's Monday. I'm Roderick Martin. If you've been here for the very first time with Truth versus Authority, and I'm going to hop right into this story. And we're talking about the Gnostic code and how the Reptilians, Archons, hijacked reality. And I'm going to explain to you how they did it. So get your note papers out, because note takers are money makers, but even though we're going to get right into it. So the conversation starts that you're an observer. You feel it. And I know a lot of people do. And I call it a nameless dread and a static of the news, a sense that the world you see is a scripted illusion manipulated by forces that operate just outside the narrow bandwidth of our five senses. And you've been taught that consciousness is the whole of the psychological, or what I would call the individual, right? But what if it's only the surface? And what if the benefit, or if you want to go all the way beneath the waters of your awareness, I will consider and say there is some type of dark mirror. Now, again, this gets really important because psychologist Carl Jung wrote that whoever looks into the mirror of the water will see, first of all, his own face. But he also warned that what comes after a boundless expanse is a world of a shadow where there is no above and no below, and no good and no bad. And this gets pretty interesting because this is an invitation, I will say tonight, to step through that mirror, to walk through what Jung called the tight passage, the narrow door of the shadow. But this is not just your personal shadow that we're talking about. We're talking about ancient Gnostic text that was buried for centuries, and they warned of another, right? They talked about this cosmic shadow, and they called themselves Archons, and these what we call the hidden rulers, what we call psycho-spiritual parasites who access the human consciousness through telepathy and simulation. And they are, the Gnostics claim, an alien force that intrudes subliminally up into the human mind, and then it deviates our intelligence away from its proper and sane applications. Now, once again, these ancient seers asserted that our most sacred beliefs, our systems of authority, even our ideal of God, could be an alien implant, a program designed to keep us from our true potential. However, tonight, and I'm glad you're here, we enter that shadow. We will decode the symbols and confront those archetypes and ask the forbidden question: is human history the story we've been told, or is it the echo of forgotten war for your mind? And people, as you always know, your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. That is where we're going to go, and we're going to get right into that and from there. So let me begin with the story of saying that the concept that these alien serpent-like creatures came to Earth thousands of years ago, and they created humanity and continue to control us even now in what I would call a controversial way. Now, the mainstream history consigns this narrative to the realm mostly a myth, a collection of primitive fears and fables explained away by pre-scientific minds attempting to make sense of, I would say, a terrifying world. And many people believe that this is a myth. Others argue that it's true. Which side do you fall on? Now, for me personally, I spent years accepting the official story. I looked at these artifacts in museums. I read the place cards. I accepted the consensus. And these were just the stories. But the more you look, the more the official story begins to fray at the edges a little bit. Now, the pattern are too consistent. When you start looking at it, it very is. And when you start thinking about it, you got to break it down to those myths. You got to separate these things by oceans and millennia. So think about it, all these different places in our world. Now, if you really pay close attention to it, you will realize that they all tell the same tale in unnerving precision. I mean, they do. you start to feel that you're not looking at thousands of disconnected stories, but thousands of eyewitnesses of accounts of a single global event, because everybody's talking about it. It makes it kind of like, okay. But if you want to reevaluate this history, right, and it requires a different look of it, the investigation, and one that treats myth not as fiction, but as a distorted memory. And people, this is real. And one of the things that I want to point out is that we're going through some things today. And a lot of people are not really paying a close attention to it, but please make sure you stay connected in where we're going, because the world is not changing. It's unveiling its true nature, or the people that are doing what they're doing. So anyway, I go back to say that this is a folk memory of war, a creation and invasion, right? This investigation begins over 5,000 years before Christ. Now think about it. Before Christ, they were putting images of things everywhere. It's a time when, according to the records, something happened that will change the course of human history. Hidden from us by misunderstanding and mistranslation, the birth of religion on this planet was no mere accident, not at all. It was the result of an alien invasion on a vast scale, and it sparked the worship of the ancient gods. Now, in just a second, I'm going to reveal something that I think most people overlooked. See, because the evidence for the claim is not a single artifact, but a vast mosaic of interconnected anomalies, a collection of proof that I will say points that, when viewed in isolation, are easily dismissed. But when you start to see it all together and form a coherent and disturbing picture, is everywhere. And the first category of this evidence, I will say, is ancient artwork. All across the planet, our ancestors left behind images. Man, they did this stuff in caves. They did it on pottery. They carved it into stone. It's like a global gallery. A consistent figure appears. Ancient artwork from around the world depicts a snake-like creatures and strange beings with wings, which is believed to be a representation of the alien serpent-like creatures. And if I was looking at the movie whatever, it'll be My Logic is Undeniable. What movie is that? Anyway, the girl in the red dress, whatever. Remember the zombies and stuff? God, I can't forget real quick. Anyway, the red thing came up, the red queen, My Logic is Undeniable. But anyway, you see them everywhere, right? These hybrid beings. Now, it's not the Matrix, Pete. It's the zombies underground. Remember the lady, the Hive, Umbrella Corporation. What is the name? Resident Evil. There we go. So you see them everywhere. Like I said, the hybrid beings, part reptile, part man, and sometimes they have wings, right? And sometimes they got horns. Archaeologists call them zoomorphism, right? A symbolic blending. But what if it's not symbolic? What if it's just analytical thoughts of things that they put up there? What if it's our ancestors wasn't craving, trying to figure things out, but they actually knew we're going to carve this, and what they imagined in their mind and what they saw. Imagine that. They wouldn't sit here trying to, we trying to figure this out. We see what we see, and we need to carve it in, because it wasn't written words back then, right? It wasn't written words. So think about that. Think about it. Now, the artistic record is amplified by the world's mythologies. Various mythologies from cultures around the world describe figures resembling snake-like forms of alien origin. And you can go all the way over there to the Nagas of India. You can go all the way to the crops over there to Greece, if you want to. You can go all the way over to Quetzalcoatl of the Aztecs. They are often held as wise teachers. Now, let's stop right there. And kings. And this leads to the next category of evidence: anomalous knowledge. Yes, people, there is something else, because now here's where I'm trying to stop my little thing here. There we go. So here's where things get a little tricky. Ancient civilizations such as the Sumerians, Egyptians, and Mayans had advanced knowledge of astronomy and mathematics that could not have been explained by their primitive technology. I don't even care how anybody can say this. They mapped out constellations that required telescopes to be seen. They calculated precisions of equinoxes, for crying out loud. They built structures aligned to celestial events way up in the stars with precision that remains staggering today. The question is not just what they knew, but how did they know it? Nobody seemed to ask them that. Nobody would want to know this. See, this anomalous knowledge is encoded in ancient monuments and mysterious artifacts. Structures like the Egyptian pyramid and Stonehenge have unexplained origins and purposes. And the complex devices, right? A lot of these things that they had discovered, remember that thing called Icke area or whatever? And no, I got a grammar box and a spelling box, you know the rules of that. But anyways, that mechanism that they discovered, and I think it was in a shipwreck off the coast of Greece, this thing challenged the entire timeline of human technological development. It's crazy. But the most profound evidence, the pattern that unites all others, is the origin of the gods themselves. Ancient cultures, think about it, around the world have belief systems that revolve around gods or supernatural beings from the sky, which could be interpreted as aliens. And you know what? They were called the shiny ones, for crying out loud. The Watchers, the Anunnaki, okay? And they all came from up there, way up there. And again, every day, you can start talking about reptilians. We can talk about those lizard things, and we can go. But today, I'm going to take it all the way back to the ancients before Christ. We're going to the whole plan in action long before this. And so that makes it undeniable, because this was before religion. And these things were here, and what they look like is what they was trying to tell us. Now, I don't know about you, but I think there's a pattern. And so if it's okay with you, let's take this a step further, okay? And I want to start like this. If a secret of this magnitude exists, okay, let's go there. It will be not written in plain language, right? We know this, right? Or we will figure that. It will be encoded, woven into the very fabric of our words, our rituals, and our most sacred stories. See, to an investigator like myself, the most difficult codes to break are not the ones that are complex, but the ones that are so freaking simple, so fundamental, that they are mistaken for common knowledge. Y'all with me with that? Y'all with me with that, right? Let's go with that. So anyway, the transcript that I was reading of this investigation states that the easiest and most clear way to realize that the serpent is hidden in our lives is actually to understand the language of the serpent itself, right? And I've been talking about this for the last few days. We need to go to the roots, because I think it's essential for us to do that. The linguistic trail of this thing begins in the land of the Canaan, where the world, at that time, if you go back to the Canaan or wherever, where the word for serpent was ab and ai or whatever. Thousands of miles away in the Mayan language, Cain or whatever it meant was the serpent was it Kukulkan or something like that, right? Y'all know Kukulkan or whatever. You can go look that up. It was the feathered serpent, and it was a god, by the fact. All right. And the same root appears again in ancient Sumerian as on, and remarkably in the Scottish area, they call it con. And from this root, we get the word canny, right, which meaning wise or knowing, like the snake. People, Jordan Maxwell talks about word magic. He talks about word spells. It talks about how we need to look at the actual etymology of words, and then we can get a better thing. Now, I'm going to hit you real hard with this one. The Roman god of fire was called Vulcan or whatever. And it comes from the Babylonian can for the serpent, and Vul, V-U-L, for fire. This connection is not accidental. And we don't even need to tie that all the way back to you know where, right? But there's an important lesson here. And we're going to talk about fire. And before we talk about that important lesson, you know, first thing I want to do is, and before we get to that, is just to go and let you know I am very excited. As you know, we've been doing our kind of group events, which now have hybrid and changed to Truth versus Authority, Knowledge Beyond Reality, people. And we have Brother Joseph right here. Is coming over here in November. Now, I'll be doing one this coming up October the 25th, but he will be here in November. And it is really important that you want to come out to this and see what we're doing. I'm just telling you now. We are, you know, there's no, and you can go to events, Truth versus Authority there. And you can definitely, you know, go in and check that out all together. And so let me put this back in play here. And anyway, so go check that out. That's Brother Joseph. And he will be definitely coming to Dallas. All right. And we can definitely do that. And as you know, our events are sponsored. We have Phoenix Phire. You know, website is in the video description here, and that's Phoenix Phire Juju. Matter of fact, you know, she's making a lot of stuff for us from the salts and the protection and soap and all of these things. So you definitely want to check out the people who are sponsoring that. So go down to Phoenix Phire. Her website is in there, and then she will have a booth or vendor table at this Saturday and at Brother Joseph as well. So you definitely do not want to miss that. So let me continue on the part of what I think is important that we should look at and think about, and you know, at any given point of this. And hang on, I'm trying to fix my monitor here. So, I mean, how many of you right now, I would honestly say that you look at some of the serpent knowledge. Let's ask that question first. How many of you look at the serpent things out there and just really raise the question of what is really happening here, right? Why are we seeing so many of these things going on here? So, you know, that's just the main question to ask all of ourselves. You know, why are we, you know, seeing the serpent everywhere? You know, and I think it's something for us to really look at, and then you can see that and say, okay, that's fine. You know, let's do it this way. But I think a lot of people don't really go into that. So I'll look here in the chat, and you can tell me, you know, what your thoughts are when it comes down to this particular part, right? You know, do you see anything that you can go back to the past and say, okay, wait a minute, it's true. There are snakes everywhere. They're everywhere. And why wouldn't we think about this in more of a detailed fashion? And I think it's just something, once again. So I'm just playing with this thing here. Hang on one second. I am trying to move this off my board here. There we go. I think I got it off. All right. So, but let me look in the chat real quick. I know there's some comments. Somebody said awareness is thin. Okay, cool. I get it. All right. So let me continue. But let you know, if you are here in the Dallas area, people, just remember we have a lot of things going on. And I put together something that I will tell you that within this whole year, if you are coming to any of our Truth versus Authority events, I want you to look at this right quick. Look at this on the screen before we move forward further. Let me know if y'all can see this. Put in a chat. Let me know you can see what's on the screen over here, because I need you to see this, right? I need you to see it. Somebody let me know. Come on. I got people on my team. I need to know if y'all can see this. Obviously, okay, I'm not getting any response. Okay, so y'all can. Okay, there's a delay. All right, cool. So if y'all can see this, this is very important for you, those of you. I want you to see this because I have put this together because I'm telling you, there's a lot of things going on here in life. There is a lot of things going on, okay? And a lot of you are feeling it and you're seeing it, and you got to be prepared, because if you're not prepared here, there is a problem. They are moving on their plans right now. And I reached out and called all of my friends, and I got more. And I said, I need people here in our town to become not only free, but learn something. And so for this next year, I put this something together so good that if you don't come to all of them, that's fine. But if you came to all of them, your life did not change all across the board, I'm telling you it will. So I want you to see what I'm doing here real quickly. So this weekend, I'm going to be talking about hidden occult knowledge on the 25th. It's a free event. On the 27th, the 2nd, we got Brother Yosef here, down here in Dallas at my event. Then I got Doc B, if y'all know who that is. He's going to be doing some immersive sound and everything else. He's going to be here right before Christmas to take you in. Billy is going to come down here in January to bring into the new year, and he's going to teach you some stuff, one after another. February, King Simon is going to hit right at Valentine's. We're going to be doing numerology and also love, whatever. You can get the numbers right, all of this stuff. And my sister, Aaron Lyons, is going to come down and blow some people away, okay? Billy is going to come down again back in May. And then I got 4 other people are taking us all the way into the 4 of the first of the year. All of these people is down here in Dallas, and you can go, you can register for those events. Some of them are paid events, but I'm telling you, you ain't never seen a collection like that month after month after month after month after month that's going to change people's lives. And you can get it. And I'll be shocked for people who won't invest in themselves to get this knowledge. So furthermore, I just wanted to put that out there because there are some people in Dallas that I know, that I deal with, and I just know. So anyway, let me continue. So now that we're done, and we're going to hit it hard, okay? So let me continue the story. This is an important lesson here that I'm getting ready to continue on. And it's important that we understand that, okay? As we continue, whatever we're doing, we just want to continue it across the board. And I think, once again, when we talk about knowledge, yes, that is the plan. That is the plan. We're going to get a recorder, and that's what's going to start going up in the Patreon. But I'm getting ready to lock off the Patreon. For those who are already in there, it's going to be there. We're not going to really add no more new members there because it costs to be doing that stuff. So until we get more, but for all of you who are already part of that Uncensored in the Patreon, and you don't live here in Dallas, once we start filming them, we'll put those inside the Patreon, but you have to have membership access there, okay? And so let's just kind of go with that as well as we can continue the plan of everything. So I'm really excited about that, and pretty much. All right, so one of the things, again, to really talk about here is to understand what are we really doing here when it comes down to everything, especially in life, right? So when I say the lesson that we need to learn is fire, this is the first crucial deviation from the biological creatures that we know. See, there is no real snakes here on Earth that are fire. We know that, right? So the word must mean something quite different, a shining entity, or being of light, right? The same kind of fiery, luminous phenomena describes the countless modern UFO sightings that we talk about, but the language itself is telling us that our ancestors were not describing animals, people. They were describing a technology, a presence that came within the fire of the sky. And if you still kind of go deeper, the linguistic thread leads to the most unlikely of places. And at the very center of the Christian world is the Vatican, who comes across from the world of Vatis, V-A-T-I-S, for profit, and can, C-A-N, that I mentioned earlier, was from serpent, making the Vatican literally a place of serpent prophecy, which we already know they got Snake Hall. So once again, the knowledge is undeniable here. It is undeniable. And I think it's something that people should to know. And it's an uncomfortable thought, isn't it? Right? When you think about it. And I forgot to mention all of those events that you saw real quickly. There are some VIP tickets for those that only 10 people are going on that Friday before the event and go to a private dinner with Billy, with Brother Osip, Doc B, Aaron, King Simon, all the people that's coming that Friday. We're just going to have 10 people. We got a little room. I already got everything. And then if you get to that, then you get to sit back and just ask some questions hand on hand. So this is the whole thing for me to make, because the room is limited. We ain't trying to get thousands of people there. We want this to be as intimate as possible so that you get that knowledge. I don't know why. It just came over me that I needed to put that out there. But anyway, you better reserve your spots. That's all I'm going to tell you. But anyway, it's uncomfortable, right? The bedrock of Western religion could be named for the very creature that publicly it reveals. But the etymology is there. If you start thinking about it, if you wish to hide a secret, you hide it in plain sight. You make it so large, so foundational that no one world would ever think to question it. This is how they're doing it. Now, for example, real quickly, let me put something on the board here. So we want to talk about what I call the reptilian rule. I want you to look at this. And this is something that I've been working on for you. So it's the reptilian rule. And it's important that you even know that this exists, because this book right here, and this is where we see the reptilian inversion, is not in just our language, but in our psychology. And this is a guide, and this is the program, what I call the shadow stage or sage at the work of this global scale. So the part I'm talking about, let me put it on the screen for you, is the shadow sage. Now, the shadow sage operates on a core deception, and that knowledge is an exclusive truth, a privilege that is few, and it wears the mask of the light sage, enlightened, inciting, and guiding force, but its true agenda is to be condescending, elitist, gatekeeper, and it doesn't want you to liberate the wisdom. It wants you to be controlled by dogma. Now, the reason I have this on the screen is because it's all based on a reptilian. And in this guide, the shadow stage, it goes through everything. It's going to tell you what they're doing. And when you think about it, and this reptilian, again, is where we see the reptilian inversion out here, because this is where they are, but in our very own psychology. This isn't just a historical trick. It's an activation of Pacific program, a shadow archetype that I identify right here on the deception guide here. And it's called the shadow stage, or sage, S-A-G-E. And the shadow sage operates on that core deception, people. And the knowledge is exclusive truth. It's a privilege for the few. It wears the mask of the light sage, like I said, enlightened, insightful, a guiding force, but its true agenda is to be condescending, elitist, gatekeeper. It doesn't want liberate with wisdom. It wants to control with dogma. And I'm telling you, this guide, this 500 some pages with 54 shadow archetypes, and thank you all who's been ordering, and people, if you got it, you turn to page 7. And we're, now that we're getting our orders, if you do go to my website, which is truthversusauthority.com, you're going to find, again, I have a little notice now to give me 7 or 10 days, because we're behind. People are buying it. And they know that it's changing their lives, because not only this guide comes, but the shadow work comes, and the solar plex, because you need to protect the solar plex. That's what they connect on. And so when you do, you can go to the website right there, truthversusauthority.com, and it's going to come with a shirt. Yeah. So we're going to give you pick out your size. I don't care what it is. It could be the $40 5X, and it's going to come absolutely free with as a combo for everything, for your appreciation. And I'm telling you, it's that time, and we have to get deep. And when you think about it, the early Gnostics claimed that the serpent was the author of wisdom for all humanity. But the priesthood came after that and acted on what I call the ultimate shadow sage, is what we just talked about here. And again, you're going to learn it, and you're going to learn the light work of that sage in this guide as well. 500 some pages, like I said, and everything, and it's going to tie it into conspiracies. Been working on this as meticulously, and this is, like I said, it's not a book. You're going to refer to this even when you're talking to somebody you love, and you're going to be like, whoa. Yeah. And so you do not, and between all those speakers and me knowing what's going on out here, being a certified UFO investigator, being in 11 different TV shows, I'm connected, as you can see, just for me within days putting that together. And I called all my friends, I called in my coins, and they all said, okay, we're coming because it is time. So I guarantee you there's some people who's going to be looking at this, whatever, and that's fine, man. It is time, because we can't save everyone. But if you want to, in your next generation, it is time. Go subscribe to Netflix for entertainment, or get the knowledge and continue with Netflix, but with a whole different set of eyes. Because they took the universe and liberated knowledge. They locked it away, people, and they declared that they only had the key. That's no more. They turned a living truth into a rigid religion, forcing the masses to become passive observers of the truth that they were no longer allowed to access directly. And that time is over and done with. It's over and done with. This is why we are truth versus authority. And here's the message I'm always play for you.
Live in peace and harmony. I think we're being set up for something very serious and very big by some very powerful secret societies that very well could have extraterrestrial or otherworld intelligence guiding it. I am very fearful for the world we live in, because we bought it hook, line, and sinker, and all over the world we have accepted the authority as truth rather than truth as the authority. It is going to require intellect, knowledge, study, and making a stand for the first time not to accept the things which your government gives you, which your religions give you, and which the authorities give you. Because as far as I'm concerned, I have a very big problem with anyone called an authority, because they're always...
There you go. And he been talking about it. And you see, we adapted the fight, truth versus authority. Because again, there's too many people being observers. And let me tell you something now. For those people who walk around and tell you they are woke, some of them are blind as a bat. You better believe it. They get a piece of information, some of them, and they think just because they learned this, people, even politics, are using the word woke now. They don't stole the term. I'm telling you that it is about your orbs, your auras, your energy, about you connecting to source. You know what I'm saying? You got to go back and connect to source. And if they could get you disconnected where you can't even find source, don't even know where it is, all there is, has been, and ever can be. And if they don't know this, and you don't know this, they got it. You can have a little knowledge to think you're woke, but if you don't know the truth, then that's the problem. And they're not telling people that. They put religion, they put hell there. They put, you are going to do this because you're a bad person. People, there is no bad and there's no good. I'm figuring that out too, as I'm learning, and I'm learning more. There is only good decisions and bad decisions that are good for humanity. You are always a loved person, and this is why I tell you that I love you. You are loved, and don't let nobody tell you that you're not, and that you're going to be sitting at the feather of life at the end of this thing. The whole point is to keep you coming back here so that you don't find your way back to source. But the knowledge wasn't destroyed. The knowledge wasn't destroyed. That's all I want you to know. It wasn't destroyed. They just don't want you to connect to access directly, right? It was inverted. It was gatekept. That is the program of the shadow reptilian sage. And you're going to learn the power of that sage, and you're going to integrate it with the shadow guide, this reptilian guide. And then you're going to control that power. You're not going to destroy it. Don't destroy it because it has power. Your shadow has power. It's part of you. It's the collective unconscious. Now, if that doesn't surprise you, then what I'm going to say next will. Because see, the Christian Bible itself, it replicates with these serpent connections, if you go look at it. And once you learn to see them, the oracle, right, consulted by King Saul was known as one, what they call Hoth, right? A word that means serpent. The serpent worship of Moses' time, right, were known as the Hivites, right? The Hivites, if you pronounce that, a name derived from Hivia, or the serpent. The root name Eve, the Hivites, or if I'm pronouncing them again, I got my grammar box, later became known as the Ophites, and then early Christian Gnostic serpent worships who were claimed affinity with Christians in the 2nd century AD. And the scriptures are explicit on this point, that the children of Israel intermarried with them and served as gods. And let me say that statement again, the children of Israel. I ain't trying to preach to you, but I'm saying they intermarried with them of God. Why do we see so much of that country? Because it began there as well too. They're all in on it. This is a direct record of hybrid bloodline in the transfer of worship. The serpent gods was also known as Baalium, right? From the god Baal. Baal is an abbreviation of Abel, right? Meaning the serpent god, or more accurately, the shiny serpent. I'm putting it out there. This is why I do the reptilian stuff. I can start with the fact that we got shapeshifters and 70% of our people in control of the governments, everybody, or reptiles and bloodlines and all of that. I'm giving you the point. I'm giving you the reason why. Because a long time ago, somebody in this war between it, and some of them left, and then they left some of the other ones. And the rumor is that we keep saying they're coming back. I think they're already here. They're just fighting. We can't see it. They know that and this is why you see some of this stuff in higher places that they're warring. And who the prize is control of us. It's the control of us. That's the point I'm trying to make. So when you go back and you start thinking about this, that the shiny aspect is critical clue. A clue. You ain't clueless. The serpent was seen in the sky and shone down upon us, right? And this is why in Egypt, the sun disk, or the Etienne, is always wrapped with Arayus, right? The cobra. The serpent was a worldwide symbol of the sun because these shiny ones was the lights in the sky that descended to earth. They were the ships, the craft of these strange serpent-like humanoids that walked among mankind. The Greeks called Baal, right? The dragon or the great serpent. Baal is the Eratosson of Babylon, or if I'm pronouncing that right, but Marduk, right? The same Baal seen throughout the Bible. This was not a local cult. The European festival of Beltane should be rendered as Baltan, right? And we talking about Tanit, right? Was the patron goddess of Carthage. Her name meaning serpent lady. She is the same queen of the heavens as Astrid and Isis. And even in her archetypical, or I should have archetypes or archetypal, my grammar box, my letter box, you know what I'm talking about. Even in that form, Mary, all of the deities, they all trace back to Babylonian belief of the serpent worship. And again, this is why I took the time. And I took the time to magically, hit that button there, put the 54 serpent archetypes in this guide for you. It is time. And we're on the process of this. Let me tell you this. What became the hunt for something bad unearthed and showed something good. And then the whole point, and even Jordan Maxwell talks about it, that they got us looking in wrong directions. And I believe that now. I believe the reason they don't want us to look at serpent stuff, because they want, especially where I was raised and grew up, it was all evil, enemy, the serpent is a tongue, whatever, because there was hidden knowledge. And this is what we're going to, especially when you start coming to our events, We're going to activate that Kundalini. We're going to activate we're going to give you that. Now, you got to tap into it to get back to source, to remember source. You have to. Because right now, even woke people don't remember sugar, honey, iced tea. I ain't say you, but there are some people. They just think they know, but they don't remember. You may know something, but if you don't remember, like the Lion King, when he told Simba, remember who you are. You are my son, the one king. All right. All right. So anyway, if you think that was interesting, wait until you hear what happened next that I'm going to get into. All right. And it may seem shocking, but historical records suggest that the keepers of this knowledge were the very people who shaped early Christianity. Boy, did I just say something now. A general term used for early Christian Gnostics was ophites, which means serpent worshipers, right? Even Ephanus, or I think it's Epihhoinus. I can spell really good. It's just trying to pronounce all that stuff. But anyway, which is the early church father, wrote that the ophites taught that the ruler of this world was a draconic form. Furthermore, the ophites attributed all wisdom to serpent paradise and said that he was the author of the knowledge of men. I'm telling you all that it's two things happening here. The reptilian stuff that people laugh at is real because every civilization, every religion, every single religion on this planet before religion, let me go there. They all worship serpent something around the entire globe. And then it began to form, and somebody taught them a system of control and said, let's put this in place. And this is why we have so many. But if you go to the beginning of everything, everywhere, you're going to find the same depictions, all of allegory, all the things that is happening. And so that leads you down two roads. That leads you to the point to where you now believe to understand that there is some lizard stuff going on. Because it was how our DNA was altered, and that there were some good ones because they came and showed man knowledge. They showed men technology. They showed us the thing. That tree of knowledge or whatever. They put that out there, and they wasn't supposed to. One group, and then the other one said, "Okay, let's do this." And so that's how all this begun. And then we grew like roaches, 5 billion folks. Now we just too many of us. So I'm saying to you, yeah, we do have that Ube statues, all of that stuff is sitting out there, right? You're 100% correct. So where we will go with this is a complete inversion of the story that we've been told. The guardians of the original tradition believed the serpent was the source of wisdom and not the source of sin. The temper became the teacher. This implies that the narrative of the fall of man isn't a moral tale, it's propaganda. It's the rewritten history of a conflict told from a victor's point of view. Yeah, these people weren't playing with us. It wasn't playing. Real quickly, we tried to get a lot of you to help Anna for her birthday. And I was really shocked that we had items on her birthday list that was $5. And people, your birthday is coming up this weekend. There's a thing in the description. I'm getting emails. I can't click on it. Every time I click on it, it works, and all of those things. So I want people to know. Let me play her birthday, and I had her to make a little. Here's Anna, who I'm talking about. I love this little girl. She's just so great when she comes and visit.
Thank y'all for making
No,
my
you gotta
birthday.
speak louder than that, though.
Thank you for making my birthday wish come true. My birthday wish, I hope it's gonna be full.
All right.
Now, there are items on that birthday list. There's a link in the description, people, that'll click right over to Amazon. You order it, and it sends right over. I even offer to give people free shirts or whatever, and I'm shocked, all right? And I know we got the type of people that will spend $6, $5, $7, or some $20, and out of those 15, 10 items, we can clear that list out. There have been a few, but there's a, and I'm just saying that I know we got those kind of guilt people here, but I know that we in a world today where just things doesn't mean anybody. I don't get it, but I understand it though, which is definitely why I put together all these awesome people to come in and teach some stuff now, because it's needed. See, because when you go back to this belief in the most sacred rituals that we've been talking about, and again, there's a description that says Anna's birthday in the description of the video. There's a ritual cup that was used known as the cup of Agamemnon, right? You seen the movie, Troy and all that, meaning simply the good serpent. This serpent consecrated cup of wine was handed around after supper. Ooh, we won't talk about the Last Supper. Thousands of years later, Christians still take the same cup of Christ, who was called the good serpent by the Gnostics. So they did this before, and then all of a sudden in the Last Supper, they do it again. Because, I don't know, maybe they just wanted to duplicate the deal. Maybe they wanted to duplicate the deal. Yes, Archons are archetypes. This is why, right there, that's why I did it. This is why this is get them off your solar plexus. You got to protect that aura. This is why we are protecting people's auras and everything else. But then this particularly intelligence, archetypal intelligence is the trademark. It's going to teach you how to do it, because you got to know how to do it with these reptilians. People think it's just whatever. But if you don't know exactly who's doing it to you, you got to know thy enemy. You have to know. So there's 54 archetypes, and they're all reptilian archetypes. But I also go into the light work of the shadow work of each archetype, the conspiracy that they're tied into, the luminous owl of you seeing between the illusions. Every one of them is structured that way. And go to my website, and So, these are discoveries as we grow. But anyway, the modern ritual, none of these, they're original. They're not originals. They're renamed. The cup of the sacred serpent, which gives the body and blood of our oldest gods, the ancient serpent race, right? That these things are replays. They are replays. Period. Period and point blank. And I haven't even told you the best part yet. I haven't even done that yet. It's coming. It's coming up. Because see, the evidence seems to form a clear picture. And it has linguistic footprints, right? The religious rituals of the Gnostic revelation. They all point to the same origin. A global prehistoric reverence for a wise, shiny serpent being who descended from the sky. A teacher, a creator, a god. A teacher, a creator, a god. So the central question becomes unavoidable. If this is our history, then what happened to it? Why? In modern world, is the serpent not a symbol of wisdom, but the ultimate icon of evil? Why is that? Now, again, make no mistake about it, people. I'm not telling you there's not no reptilian people out there, shapeshifters and everything else that are up to no good. There's some good ones and bad ones, yeah. I ain't telling you that ain't going down. I'm just telling you that in order to fight the knowledge, you got to know thy enemy and know thyself. And if you know thyself, then you're going to know you got the power. You got the power. You have the power. Too many, right? The very idea that the serpent is hidden without religion and mythology was seen bizarre to a lot of people. In Christianity and other faiths, it's reviled, right? Is the Agamemnon, the good serpent, or the Gnostics have been inverted. The breeder of knowledge is now the father of lies. Come on. The light giver is now the temper. This transformation is not accident of history. It's a clue. It's a sign that the original narrative was deliberately and violently suppressed. And this itself is a folk memory of a fearful, warring past between mankind and the serpent. And we are caught up in the freaking middle of it. We're caught up in the middle of it. We are caught up in the middle of it, but how do we fight? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to fight this all across the board. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Yeah, we're going to fight it across the board. So as we continue, I should say, then the story isn't just one of peaceful tutelage. It's more complex than that. Somewhere in the forgotten chapters of our history, the relationship soured. The student turned on the teacher, or perhaps one group of gods turned on another, and humanity was caught in crossfire. Our fear of the serpent then, this isn't superstition, it's a scar. It's a species-wide trauma from a war we've been programmed to forget, but it's in our collective unconscious. Once you collect the source, you got to connect back to source. We have to do that. And it's very important. And I don't think everybody's doing it, because the memory of this conflict survives in fragments across the world's oldest text. The user that we was talking about states that the history of the transcript that I was reading, it was talking about, tell us that the original aliens, the shining ones, did battle with the giants and brought about a great cataclysm. This referred to the hybrid race, the offsprings of sacred guardians known as the Watchers, who, according to the book of Enoch, mated with human females. And their children were known as giants in the land. And then a freaking war broke out between the original shining ones and the hybrid children. And then in the aftermath, the aliens escaped Earth, but left behind their seed and tools of power and communication. That's what we're dealing with today, ladies and gentlemen, when you talk about this thing up here. Let me put that on the screen for you. When you talk about this triangle, boom, right there. Look at it. That's how they control everything, all the way down from the top to the bottom. The Archons all the way down to the overlord, the rulers, to media, to celebrities, all the way down. And I give you a reminder of that when you go and get the guides and you get to wear. Then you're going to let them know. When they see you wearing this, they're going to know. They're going to be like, dang, man. This dude, these dudes gonna be like, oh man, you know, that's what they're gonna be saying. That's exactly what they're gonna be saying. And you're not gonna believe what happens next. You're not gonna believe what happens next. So this is the turn, the twist in our own origin story. See, the serpent race didn't just arrive and teach. They integrated. They bred with us. And believe me, we are sexual compatible with these reptilians, especially you ladies. This is how it works. Why wouldn't we be? Why wouldn't we be? Let's make men in our image and the likeness of ourselves. Why wouldn't we be sexual compatible? Why wouldn't we be? And that act, whether it was a gift or transgression, created a new kind of beings, part human and part God, they say, in a race of giants. And their existence triggered a war. And this isn't just a story about aliens anymore. This is a story of civil war within a galactic family, and Earth was the battlefield. And when the original gods left, the bloodline remained, like I said, a hybrid lineage carrying out the genetic code of the species not on this world. This is why they do all that in the breeding. This is why the Illuminati, all these rituals and cults and stuff exist. They want to keep pure bloodline. They want to keep pure bloodline. This conflict forces a re-examination of humanity's primordial parents, Adam and Eve. Ooh, did I say something? See, the previous evidence suggests that they were part of a serpent lineage. But the story of the Garden of Eden suggests a different dynamic. In that story, mankind, in comparison to this remarkable animal, appeared foolish. And from that day forward, the serpent will control man. The very genetic makeup of mankind altered from this moment. It's like, these people are dumb. We need to do something. They don't know nothing. They don't know nothing. And this is the core contradiction. Were Adam and Eve the first of the serpent bloodline or the first subject of it? Were they the progenitors of a divine race or the first products of a genetic engineering program? And on one hand, the language is clear. Evia, the root of Eve, means female serpent. Their son's Abel's name means serpent shining. And according to the rabbinical tradition, Cain was the son of a serpent spirit. This suggests that they are separate race, but the history itself fell upon us as transfer of power in a moment of temptation where Eve gained her wisdom via the serpent. This suggests that we were something else before they encountered us, and they controlled or altered everything. And we already know that old Cain went to God himself and said, hey, man, I'm sorry. Don't put me out there. He's like, you got to get the F out, dude. You got to go. He said, don't put me out there. God said, you got to go. And Cain was like,
can you say that again? I'm sorry, what?
That was his expression. God said, you got to go. So he was like, all right then, but they're going to kill me. He said, they're going to kill me. And God was like,
Hell no.
Because I'm going to put a mark on you. That was what he said. They're not going to kill you. So obviously there was somebody already out there. So they couldn't have been the first. It just makes sense. They couldn't be the first. Y'all give a shout out to our godmother, Diana, for sending a Cash App support. All right, thank you. Thank you very much. You get what I'm saying. Now imagine this, though. This paradox sits at the heart of human condition. Are we serpent's children or the serpent's property? The bloodline or cattle? The evidence, when viewed its totality, suggests the answer is a little bit of both. We are a hybrid species born from a conflict that has never truly ended. A species containing two natures, one on Earth and one from the stars, and one that seeks to create another that seeks to control. In the eternal war, this division is our very soul, and maybe the serpent's most enduring legacy. That's what I'm talking about. This is why you need to get the knowledge. This is why we're going to learn the knowledge. Because here's the secret that changed everything. Are we the serpent's children or the serpent's property? Like I said, and for a long time, I thought this was the question about history, about an event that happened or didn't happen thousands of years ago. But the deeper I go, the more I realize it isn't a historical question at all. It's a psychological one. It defines the two paths available to every human being alive today. We, you, everyone. It's the central choice of our existence, hidden between the veil of our own origin. And once again, they do not want you to remember. They don't want you to remember source is all, it's everything, it's air, it's the air we breathe. It's source. You can't live without source. The source is us. It's this collective unconscious, the infinite conscious awareness. But we're disconnected from it, so we don't know. And you have to get it, whether it's God, whatever the source, you got to be reconnected to it. You got to remember. And then once you remember, you are no longer afraid of heaven and hell and all that, which is not there. It was put there by religion to keep you. It's no different than you telling your children to be naughty or nice. Santa Claus is watching, and we're not going to buy you nothing for Christmas. You put the same God fear in them that they put in us by using Santa Claus to let them know that somebody's going to put them on a list, naughty and nice for Christmas. You know how many kids walked around didn't want to do shit because of Santa Claus? Because their parents told them that Santa is watching them? You put a religion on them. And you can't say you didn't. You did, because it happened to me and I did it too. I sure did, until money was lacking and I had to tell the truth. Santa Claus ain't real. Daddy worked for this. You try to get your ego in the way because you only give them one good thing and you want to let them know you work hard for that one good thing. I'm just saying. I'm just telling you, this is the world. This is the world we in, people. Anybody with me? Am I by myself tonight? Let me know if you're with me. Let me know if you are with me. See, because the evidence presented in the historical record, when viewed through the lens, reveals a profound duality. One path, humanity is defined by its lineage, and the transcript states the origin of humanity is from the line of serpents, people. And this is the path of empowerment, too. This belief that we carry the genetic spiritual inheritance of gods, the shining ones. This is why they tell us there's a God in all of you. They don't want you to know that they gave us those genes when they spiced us. I didn't say they created us totally. There was some type of man here, but they then said we need to make some slaves. We need to do whatever. And they took it and did genetics experiments. Yeah, no different. It's no different when you have a German Shepherd with a Doberman and you make a new species of dog. Still a dog, but you make a new one. It's no different. Thank y'all for the ones who say you're with me. Cool. You get what I'm saying? And again, the inheritance of the gods, the shining one, is the path of sovereign, the priest king, the operator who understands the hidden architect of reality. And on the other path, humanity is defined by its subjugation, right? The record also states from the day forward, the serpent will control man. It said that right off the bat. And this is the path of the observer, the passive subject, a resource to be managed, controlled, formed for energy by its forces that it does not comprehend. So they're mining our loosh. This is why you got to protect that solar plex. And this is something in here for you to do that when you get all three of these things. I promise you, there are some people that they're going to do a lot of things before they invest in what they can't see. The reason that you walk around is because it's in you. The source is in you because it's air too. It's the air. You cannot, if you get cut off from source of the air for minutes, you're gone. You're gone. Everything is connected to source. Plants breathe the air, and because we're all connected as one, when you breathe out, I breathe in, everybody's breathing in. If we all stop breathing, there's no source air for us, but we're all connected. This is why love is so important. It's really important now to know this, to see everybody as equal, even though they may make some mistakes. I ain't telling you to walk with them, but just put yourself in their shoes for a moment. I ain't tell you to walk in their shoes, but just so that you can comprehend. So that you can comprehend. So for the last time of this, we talk about this book that I have in my hand, or I can't call it a book. It's a guide. It's the Reptilian rule. That feeling of being managed is not an accident. It's the result of meticulous design psychological program. And this is the thing, right? The Reptilian rule. That's what they're doing right there. And I'm just telling you that this is the blueprint of the research that identifies this. And we're talking about number 44, which is on page, let me go to the thing here. Yeah. It's on page 44. No, I'm sorry. It is the shadow. And it is 341, page 341. I could be like a church and be like, all right, turn to page 341. Some of you got this already in the mail. Others we're printing to send them out. And you can turn to it and you'll get exactly what I'm talking about. You'll turn right here to the shadow controller, the shadow controller right here. You're going to turn to that. Okay. And the shadow controller core deception is that its perfect order will be a master in safety It presents itself wearing the mask of being organized, directive, and supportive, but building systems that promise harmony and stability. But beneath the mask in the reptilian side of it is true agenda and domineering, obsessive, and evasive. This is how they fool you, but not no more, because Shadows of Deception Guide plus the shadow thing is going to show you that. It is time to begin. It is strictly time. Because in here, I talk about that the Shadows core controller core is what I call that. Deception is the perfect order, and it will bring, once again, the master in safety. It's going to fool you to present itself wearing the mask of being organized, directive, and supportive, building system. And you know people like that. Promise harmony and stability, but beneath that dang on shadow mask is a true agenda. It's domineering, they're obsessive, and they're invasive. And this is the very essence of the matrix that we are born into. It is the system of control that masquerades as a core system, right, of care. They act like they care. And the choice to awaken to become an operator begins when you recognize the structure. That's why I put this structure on here. A lot of people don't recognize the structure. They think they do, but they don't, because they can't see all the way up to the top anyway. Check it out. You won't be disappointed. You can keep this around, give it to the grandkids and great grandkids, spread it around. And they will say that Roderick boy, yeah. But here's the catch. Its goal of these reptilian rules of the shadow stuff is to turn you into a puppet, people, while possessing as a caring leader. This is what they do. See, the ancient Gnostics understood this perfectly. When they warned us of those Archons, hidden rulers, right? When they told us that these rulers right here, look at this system. Right here at the top, right here's the overlords, those Archons, right there at the top. I just put it there for you. And then in the middle, it's right here, the ruler societies. And then you got the celebrities, meons and media and all of this stuff. They're doing this for a reason, to control all the way down. They're doing it to control all the way down. They did it right there. And when they talked about it, they were describing the ultimate shadow controllers that I put up on screen right here for you. This is what they were describing, people, right here. This is what they were describing. I want you to know. And my heart goes out to many people. See, again, the psycho-spiritual parasites create a system of authority, not to empower you, but to make you easier to manage, like a complacent livestock on a planetary farm, batteries or whatever. And this is the paradox is perfectly illustrated by one of most mankind's oldest and most controversial rituals, circumcision. Yeah, circumcision was back in the day. This was the official explanation as one of the covenant of hygiene of tradition. This is what they tell you. They tell you circumcision, you know, when you women don't know nothing about that, or men do, but women, you probably know. But at the same time, ouch. But they tell you, oh, it's this hygiene or tradition. Okay. My mom had me done. I'm sure it's natural. And if I had sons, they would have been done. But there's a symbolic origin that reveals a deeper story to circumcision. The Egyptians held the belief that when the snakes shed its skin, it has undergone rebirth, a mirror of the greatest God. This is why, once again, we are gods. We are gods. So men, when they did this at birth, it was really, some people did it because they said one thing, but if you go all the way back, it was because they believed it was rebirth, because we're coming back in again. We're recycled souls. So the Egyptian priests, in a mock ritual, therefore removed the foreskin, and so that the male was born again like the snake. Oh, I'm coming at you tonight, people. I am coming at you tonight. So, yeah, I'm coming at you tonight. You get what I'm going, right? And so this is the next part that I'm getting ready to say. It's real crucial. So pay close attention to what I'm about to tell you. So I should say that here you will see two paths in a single act. It's the ritual, an act of immolation, or a choice to become godlike, to shed one's skin, and to achieve a higher consciousness. That is an operator's path. Or is it an act of submission, a mark of ownership, a brand placed upon the herd by unseen master? The line between a sacrament and a seal of servitude is really terrifying. It's really terrifying. It's a thin line, to be honest with you, when you start thinking about it. It's a real thin line. Very thin. And this mark, this symbol of the serpent, will become the key to a proper size return. And they talk about, they reference the tau cross, a symbol of the serpent deity. The symbol became the mark of the sign which will set the believer aside for saying when the gods return. It is Ezekiel, this is the mark, right, that God would know. A sign of loyalty, ensuring the bearer recognized not as an enemy, but as property. And they talked about that being the ankh, that'll be on the forehead. And yet people, oh no, it's the showing the females sexual whatever. Okay, that's cool too. But they damn sure said it exists as what it is. And this duality is not an abstract concept. It played out through history in the form of projected, hidden, and powerful bloodlines. And when I start reading that transcript again, it identifies them as the Merovingians. This was a dynasty of Frankish priests, kings with magical power. They were said to be descendants from an ultra ancient race, spawned by the great sea beast, the Quantator. This connects their lineage directly back to Babylonian creation myth and to Tiamat, the primordial serpent goddess. And the ancient alien blood coursed through their veins, and it is claimed that they remain, to this day, one of the most powerful families on the planet. Think about it, who they are. You already know. You already know. It's not a conspiracy. It is the conspiracy. You already know. But there's one last thing you need to know. I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. And let me know if you're still with me, people. This is the bloodline as an operator, the divine right to rule. It's justified by direct genetic links to the gods, okay? All right? But we have to ask the difficult question. What does those divine right mean everywhere else? If they are children of the serpent, what does that make the rest of us? What does that make the rest of us? That's a question that you will probably resonate with yourself, because your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. And there is an important lesson here. I just want you to know as we get ready to come to a close. There is an important lesson. This is the metaphysical truth we've been distracted from. We're all born into this paradox. We all carry the genetic echo of these serpent creators. We all have the potential to be born again, just like the snake, to shed our old skin, to awaken our wisdom, to become the masters of our own reality. This is the promise of our lineage, but we are also born into the system of control. And the Gnostics were clear. The ruler of this world was a draconic form, a system designed to keep us foolish, to keep us distracted, and to keep us a resource loose. And this is the reality of where we live in today. Unless you want to learn and fight back, or you're going to keep coming back because you don't know. And the greatest secret isn't that the serpent aliens exist, people. The secret is that they're dual nature. The wise creator and the God controller, the shining one and the Archon, exist inside each one of us. Yeah, that's the archetype, the collective unconscious. That's where we all connected together. This is why you can dream of something in freaking whatever country, and they can dream of something in another country, and y'all can draw the same thing, and you don't even know each other. You don't even know each other, and you can put that together. That's what I'm talking about. And that's where we're going to go. This is why, once again, if you just joined us, this is why that we in Dallas every month right now, I want you to look at this list of people. Starting this weekend, I will be teaching Hidden Occult Knowledge. This is Truth versus Authority, Knowledge Beyond Reality. And then Brother Yosef, you got to go look at Brother Yosef, New Tools. He will be here this coming November the 22nd. You don't want to miss it. People, for this mission to learn to change your life. Then I called my friend Doc B and I said, hey, Doc, I need you to come to Dallas. He said, okay, I'll come down there and I'm going to decode Christmas, the biggest lie of it all. And then I'm going to do my music thing. So he's doing a whole day. And then I called Billy and he said, okay, I'll come in January. Boom. Then I called King Simon and said, okay, it's Valentine's Day. He said, okay, we're going to do some numerology. A lot of people may want to know the numbers on love or whatever. He's going to do it. Then I called my sister Erin. She said, I got you. Y'all know she's deep. She's going to take you to get connected to source. And then Billy said, I'll come again. And then I got 5 other people to fill up for the whole year. And a lot of these people you will be able to do lunch with, a dinner with that night before. Only 10 people can do that. I'm just telling you that you have an opportunity to get your life changed, especially if you still believe that hell and all that exists in Dallas after a year of all of this is your own dang gonna fault, period. And if you don't have the wherewithal that some of these things are less than $2 a day to attend and whatever, and you can't do it, can't make it, can't find time, then their system works on you. It works on you because they don't want you to feel that you can make it. They don't want you to feel that you're worthy. They don't want you to feel that you even have the power to move something around and get it done. Because if you pray like you're supposed to, and the source hears you, it'll happen for you. You believe that it's going to happen, or you believe that it's not, then that source is going to answer that too. But 6 weeks ago, I was like, I got to do something. I was at the worst part of that I've been. Only a few people around here know that. I was at the worst part that I've ever been in the last 5 years been on this show. I was in a situation and I was like, how did I get here? And then I realized the great one of myself. And I said, enough is enough. And there are some people in this room who I talked to on the phone. They knew what was happening. And I was like, this is not happening no more. I'm doing too much over here. I'm trying to get back in humanity. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but it should not turn this way until I realize there are some people out there that are takers. There are some people out there that will drain you dry because they won't tap into source for energy. They're going to tap into you. They're going to do whatever. And then they're going to be haters. They're going to be whatever. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute though. I got to do something, but I'm surrounded by love. I'm surrounded by energetic people. I'm surrounded by a plan in action. And so what I did was, and there are some people who can verify what I just said, I told them this, and I'm going to look at you in this camera and I'll tell you this. I said, enough is enough. And I said, nothing will be as it was ever again. The devil is a lie if that exists, but I ain't even saying the devil got shut to do with it. That ain't even it. That was your spiritual part for those of you. It ain't, the devil ain't in on that. It's the world. It's the Archons. It's the whole thing. So I said nothing will be as it was ever again. And I went and said, okay, I'm going to work. I'm going to work. And I started working. Boom, boom, boom. 24/7, 12, 365. And was alone and maybe talked to a few people. No phone calls, no nothing. Because people don't really check on me. They just figure you good. There wasn't nobody. There was one or two that may just call, how was your day? What's going on? And I could tell them. But outside of that, no one checks on you. They just don't do it. And there was probably about 100 people, 200 in our audience that has my personal number. But then I realized it's not their responsibility. They got things they're dealing with. I still love them. They got other stuff that they're worrying about because the system is designed for them not to check on people, not to love, and all of that. And I'm like, okay, we're going to change that. So I got on the phones. I start calling my peeps. and say, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do my part though. And yeah, some of these people, you got to fly them in. Some of these people are good at what they do, but to do it in a small setting where you can get some real one-on-one stuff. Do you understand what we're doing here? Do you understand? You can go to an event that's 600 people. You're just going to be way back there. But you come to what we're doing, truth versus authority, in the way it's designed, intimacy, man, it's going to be beautiful. And you're going to learn. And you can ask those questions and everything else. I'm doing my part. So, like I said, those Archons, those shiny ones exist inside of each one of us. And this is why this all came out at the same time. And the most important part that comes with this is this reptilian shadow, 100 pages. And this is 400 or 500 pages. And this is going to teach you to get off from under this stuff, people. It's going to teach you. And if you want to know, I ain't got to lie to you. You know why, some of you feel in certain ways. You know it. You know it. You get what I'm saying? And so the war of the giants and the gods wasn't just a historical event. It was the core conflict of the human psyche, people. And the choice is to awaken the bloodline within you or to accept the brand ownership up on you. And the choice is freaking yours. It's yours. That's all I'm trying to tell you. This choice. I'm doing my part. If you don't want to get the guides, don't get it. But there's enough people that are buying it and already getting their change and everything else. And that's what I'm supposed to do. I used to worry at night about that. I used to worry about everybody. I'm not going to lie. People knew me. I did. Now I was like, okay, worry about the ones who worry about you, and the ones who don't know you, worry about them because it's not their fault. Let's just do this. And if you think it's not your time or you think it's not something you can do, go make it happen for you. Come down here. We got great deals at the hotel that we're going to be in. Get the VIP. Come to have dinner with us and laugh and play and exchange some numbers and stuff. Get your question and get your darkest answers while Billy is sitting right there, or Brother Joseph is right there, or Doc B is right there, Aaron is right there, King Simon, Yaya, all these people that's going to be here are right there. Get your answers and get it on with your life. Get that ultimate answer. Why, and let them pull and tell you about source right in your face. Aaron will probably her mind would just tap into, she's connected to source, and she'll just probably, like she does me, and just tell you. We're talking rare occasions. But once, starting in 3 days, all of these people are going to start sharing about their time and events. And then tickets are just going to be sold all over. People are just going to pick it and go. I'm just trying to tell my little audience first, no different than the people who are going to come Saturday or whatever. I'm just going to tell my little audience first that I love you. And here's the game changer that I'm going to say right now. We have just journeyed into the unknown. We have followed the legistic trail of the serpent from the dawn of civilization to the very heart of modern power. We have seen its face on carvings, like I said, of our ancestors, and we've heard of names and whispered into etymology of the most sacred institutions. We have faced the central paradox of our existence, that we are a species born into two worlds, and hybrid race carrying the seed of gods and the brand of their control. And this evidence is overwhelming, not because of one single artifact, because of global repeating pattern, a message left for those eyes who can see, the luminous, the ancient Gnostics, the Ophite, the serpent worship. They knew this. They knew the rulers of this world was of an ancient draconic form. They knew the serpent was both the source of wisdom and the architect of our prison. They knew this. They knew. Why don't you want to know? And why do you want to know not only what they're doing? We're no longer trying to tell you what they're doing. It's time to understand the power that they're using, and you take that power and change your family, your generations too, because everybody ain't supposed to be there. But if you're listening, you're supposed to be here. Nothing just happens. You're not hearing me because you wasn't supposed to be here. You're hearing me because this is the time you were supposed to hear what's coming out of my mouth. Now, whether you act upon it is totally up to you because you got free will. Whether you get off this live tonight and say, oh, he's just crazy, I'll just come back. Whether you just want to be, because there's a lot of different type of people here. A lot. There are value creators. There's value producers. And then there's value consumers. Value is everywhere, though. There's a value everywhere. There's one particular value person that, for example, that buys a lot and build a house. They're going to be a value producer. They're going to produce the value and they're going to build this house. The realtor comes in there as a value creator because they are going to create value out of that person's producing thing. And then you or we come on as value destroyers and we buy the house and tear the freaking thing down and it lose value. And that's that. Don't be that. Don't be that. Don't be it. Okay. The history of this ancient invasion tells us of a war fought with the fire and cataclysms. But the war we fight today is a little more quieter. It's a war of perception, a rebellion of sight. The serpent's greatest weapon has never been force, but deception. And there is our greatest weapon is not. The shadows of deception. Do you know, before I started even talking like this idea was given to me, shadows of deception, and then it turned into what it was all about. And then I had this made. This symbol was made just for me. I just wanted something to remember for me that there was a shadow of deception that I was learning. And all of a sudden today, in my darkest moments, like I was telling you, it all started coming together. I had it all and I just put it all together and I was like, whoa, it's been here all the time. It's been here all the time. And then you got to think about it. You got to think about you. Some of you, and I want you to know I love you as I say these last parts of tonight. In fact, let me finish my outline here and then I'm going to give you a message. Let me type it right here so I know the message. All right. So what happens next is this, and I'm glad you asked. The evidence, again, has been presented that the patterns, like I said, has been revealed, and then the ancient whispers have been amplified. The question is no longer, is this true? The question is, what will you do with the knowledge, people? Will you fall back to sleep, dismissing the echoes of myth and the patterns as coincidence? And will you remain an observer, a spectator to histories written for you by the unseen hands? Or will you awaken the bloodline within you? And will you choose to become an operator? This is what it in here. This is the operator's guide, is what this says. To see the symbols, to understand the language, to recognize the serpent shadow moving between the thrones of power and the pixels on the screen. The ancient prophecies say that they will return, and I think they're already doing it, and the signs are growing daily. But perhaps the great return is not an invasion from the sky. Perhaps it's an awakening from within. The serpent taught us of rebirth. Shed one skin is to be born again. Now it's your turn. Shed the freaking skin. That's all I want to leave you with there. So to let you know that I love you and that you have value, I want to share this with you. It just came to me. You have value. So I want you to picture a $100 bill, which is you. Picture this $100 bill all balled up. Picture it all dirty. Picture it on the ground being stepped on, this $100 bill crushed because you done been through some stuff like I just went through and more. Picture that you have been talked about, maybe, whatever, however they're treating you. Maybe life is not what, but that $100 bill is all crushed up and dirty and whatever. You $100 bill. But know this. Along the way, there will be people who will help you. There will be people who are responsible by the angels themselves to give you some assistance, to make it less difficult for you. There are people here on this planet for that. Their purpose is to ascend to help you. But ultimately, the one driving force, the one driving energy, the aura of itself is you. You're the one. You got to connect back to source. You have to. But back to this $100 bill, you thought I forgot. You are a $100 bill. And of course, you can put whatever number you want on it. And what's going to happen is the right situation, people, whatever, whoever's going to love you, whatever it's going to do, they're going to walk up, and there's going to be 3 types of people in your life. There's going to be one person who's going to walk up and they're going to see you in your worstest form. They're going to see you all bottled up or whatever. You got value, but you're dirty. You just whatever. And they're going to walk around you. They're going to be like, damn, they don't even want to touch it. They don't even want to hang with you. They don't even want to talk with you because you ain't woke. They don't want to be around and whatever because you ain't in the same vibration. Forget that. Raise everybody's vibration. Stop thinking that we're all equal. If we combine together, we can raise vibration. That's how they move mountains. They will telepathy and power, and they will move a freaking rock up the pyramid just by their minds and energy. But anyway, that person's going to walk around and they're going to be like, nah, because they see all this dirt and everything. But don't get fooled, because there's going to be another person who's going to show up, and these people you have in your life, they're going to pick you up. They're going to pick up that $100 bill. They're going to look at it and they're going to be like, damn, is this really a $100 bill? Does he or she really got value? Well, they look like they can do something. They look like they're whatever, but is this real? Yeah, well, I mean, they're trying, but they ain't there. They ain't where I'm at. Okay. And this person's going to play with you. They're going to look at you. They're going to twist around. They're going to do whatever. And then they're going to eventually put you down because they still don't believe what they had in their hands. They are not going to believe it because they just can't. But it's going to hurt you because they touched you. It's going to hurt you because they picked you up. They was around you. But then you're going to have the person that's going to walk up and they're in a rush. They on their way somewhere. They trying to get somewhere. They're doing something and they're going to be walking and they're going to see you. This is a $100 bill. They're going to be walking like this and they just going to pick that motherfucker up and put it in their pocket because they know. And then as they walking, they're going to stretch it out, clean it off because it's still a $100 bill. You have value. I have value. And you need the ones who's going to recognize the value and they go keep and pick you up and go run it. So when I picked up the phone and I called my friends and said, hey, I want to do this thing in Dallas Truth versus Authority Reality. Not one of them said no. They were just saying, we've been waiting on you. Where you been? A couple of them like, I've been wanting to collaborate you with some time. Where you been? The value is there. And all right. And not only I had so many, I was like, I just got to do this monthly. Okay, all right, I'm calling around. Who's going to help me? Who's going to do whatever? Let's get this thing done. You get what I'm saying? Because the value is there. And I woke up and I was like, okay, now you do, because nothing, like I said, would be as it was ever again. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my story tonight. I love you. I wanted to passionately share that with you. I'll be on Forbidden Knowledge tonight, echoing this. I hope that whatever I said tonight gave you some value, that you will like the video, you will push like. I hope that it may get you to even go over to the website. You may see other stuff to support what we're doing. Unfortunately, some of you are not going to be here next week when we do what we're doing, but Saturday, I'm going to talk to my audience there and the ones that are loyal and been coming. I'm going to share some things with them. But listen, because we got to have our founding members. Some of these people have been with me for the last 4 weeks and 4 months, 5 months of doing what we're doing. But we are now where we need to be. We are now where we need to be. And therefore, we're going to make this thing go work and do what it do. And again, I love you. You are loved. You should be loved. Type in the chat, I love you all. Put those words, I love you all, so people reading it know that they're loved too. and I'll give a shout out to those. All right. Kenyatta say, I love you, Papa Smurf. And she's that, I keep forgetting, Smurfette. You know, and we love Gargamel too. You know what I'm saying? But there you go. Keith says, I love you all. I love you all from our godmother of the channel, Diana. You know, come on, make it happen. There's 100+ of you who can say, I love you to other people. There'll be people who see these things after the video. We want them to know that you're all a love, that they're loved, because that's the strongest thing. And I guarantee, because I understand it right now, there are someone that did not hear those words this weekend. I was one of them, right? There was somebody don't have or do or with someone that didn't tell them they loved them sincerely, not just going in past, love you, not that one. That was just a response. That's like an echo of a response because it's hot. You know, I love you, see ya. You know, not that one. We're talking about the other one. But I said there are some people who did not hear those words, and you deserve to hear it sincerely. And you deserve to hear it. So was I and everyone else. Now I heard it Friday. My sister Aaron would say, hey, I love you, Roderick, Friday, and you know, blah, blah, blah. But I'm saying that's fine. That's fine. And I'm saying to you that I love you. I love you. And to my haters, you can hate on me and you don't even know me, and I still love you. But I don't want to meet you, but I'm still going to love you. All right. And that's what we're going to do. And with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow on Forbidden Knowledge. And then those of you in Dallas, I'll see you Saturday, one-on-one together, you and I, Saturday. And know that we, through sound and all that stuff that we're doing, support us, find a way to support us. And if you can't make it to the event, if you want to buy a ticket to any of the events and donate it, and then we can do a drawing, give it to someone, bless somebody else, and just let me know you bought a ticket. You can email us, and then, hey, and I'll know something. But support what we're doing, people. We have to now. Because those of us can't monetize that message. That's why they keep us down. We can't monetize the message, but we are now. You damn well we are. You damn well we are. All right. So Krista says, a grateful of everyone. I will be there in spirit. Thank you. We'll see you in spirit. That is our godmother. Good night, y'all.
UFOs,
UAPs,
unidentified anomalous phenomena,
unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
all questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs. A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Let's try.